be approved subject to receipt of all other required approvals. Of course, this is an annual anniversary celebration in Victoria. Discussion. Those in favor? Carried. Teresa Sinkowski, moved by Councillor Height, seconded by Councillor Sonnenberg, that the request from Teresa Sinkowski for designation as a municipal significant event for the June 24th, 2017 Ron Sexsmith concert be approved subject to receipt of all other required approvals. Any discussion on this? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Michael Timmermans, moved by Councillor Height, seconded by Councillor Columbus, at the request from Michael Timmermans for designation as a municipal significant event for the July 15 and 16, 2017 Norfolk Ram Rodeo be approved subject to receipt of all other required approvals. Any discussion on this rodeo request? I hear none. Those in favor? It's carried. Earl and Wendy G. That the correspondence of Earl and Wendy G. be received as information and that council fund the application fee in the amount of $2,235 from the council grants to others budget. This is moved by Councillor Height. I do not have a seconder. Mr. Baird?
Your Worship, if I could just provide a little bit of additional information for council before a decision is made. Planning staff have been in contact with the Gs in regard to this request. The expiration of their suite is the end of 2018, not this year. So there is in fact another year. Notwithstanding whatever your decision is, I think it's important to know they are permitted to be in place for another full year till the end of 2018. But I think that's important that you have that information moving forward. Well, that certainly,
if I may, sheds a little different light. Councillor Wells, and again, question on this. We don't really have a motion, so we are asking questions.
Right. I can ask a question.
Yes, you may.
My question is pretty simple. I see that the fee is usually $375 to $400. This particular one, we are asking for $2,235. Why the difference? I guess that would be my question, Mr. Mayor, and I think that is a question.
Through the Mayor, that's a very good question. The applicants or the individuals that have written to you have occupied their suite for 18 and a half years. So when the fees were originally dating back to the renewals, the fee structure was different, and council may recall that the planning fees have increased to reflect market demand and be comparable to our surrounding municipalities. So that fee has in fact increased as well.
Clarification. When they received their application 20 years ago, we'll just use that figure, they paid $235 and now it's gone up to they haven't paid $235 each year, have they? Or have they?
No, through the Mayor, the first application is good for, bear with me here, the initial application is good for 11 years, and then there are three-year renewals for a total of 20 years. So I can't explain that figure, where that had come from. Certainly our rates have increased, but I think that's a fee that perhaps goes back the 18-odd years. But nonetheless, there is another year and a half or so to that they can continue to occupy their suite at this point.
Councillor Oliver. Okay, if I may, Councillor Wells, I certainly have met with Sandy and Wendy. Yeah, their letter basically explains some of their requests. The issue that they have is they've been in their trailer 20 years. They do not mind paying a renewal fee every 3 years of $375, $350, whatever that is. Their question is, why, after you hit the 20-year, is a renewal no longer, I mean, Sandy's just turned 86. He's saying, this is where I'm going to live my life. I'm going to stay on the same foundation, the same well, same septic system. Why do I suddenly now in the 20th year, this year of renewal, doesn't see it as a new application. Why does it go from the $375 every 3 years now to the new application? Chris can maybe speak to it. And I said, I will look into this. I was well aware that probably it's provincial legislation that there has to be a new application after 20 years, but sometimes, at the whim of council, they can be asked if they wish to waive the difference between the renewal fee and the application. I didn't make any promises other than I would bring their letter tonight, and it's before us. Mr. Baird, have I read that correctly?
Mr. Mayor, you're correct.
Thank you.
That would be the fee is the initial application fee. The Planning Act states that 20 years is the maximum
For renewals.
to occupy a garden suite without making a new application. That fee is used not just for the renewal, the administrative process for those 3 years. It's initially to deal with the site plan requirements, all those things that would be associated with tying into the existing well and septic systems and so on. So, yeah, obviously the prices have changed, but it is indeed the Planning Act that requires that. There's no way to get around that.
No.
But you may wish to look at the fee or something like that. This is pretty exceptional. I can't think of many in my career where we've seen residents that have been in a garden suite actually outlive, if I could use that term,
Yes.
that 20-year horizon. So congratulations to them, but this is a unique situation.
Councillor Height, please.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. I guess I do have a problem with that if we're charging a regular $400 and then we're going to charge this, these are seniors on a fixed income and we're looking for $2,325 or $2,235 for them to stay, what are they down to, a year and 8 months left that they're able to stay? Is that correct, Mr. Baird, through the chair?
Yeah, Councillor Haight, that's correct. They're able to stay until the end of 2018, currently, without any other fees, just continue on.
Right, so they probably don't even have the money to pay for this fee right now, so what are we going to do if they don't come up with the fee? Send bylaw over and give them the boot?
Well, certainly through the mayor, we wouldn't not want to do that, but they would be occupying their garden suite in contravention of the Planning Act and the bylaws that council has approved.
We're not going to send them to jail for 6 months or anything like that, are we?
No, that's not our role, Councillor.
No. So, but then our role shouldn't be to collect this much money either. I find the cost to be very absorbent for, just a few months. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Black, and then Oliver.
A question through you, Mayor Luke, to Chris. And I think we need to be all about fairness. And what's good for one is good for the other. But then also, if we're going to reduce a fee for one person, maybe we need to look at a special criteria of ability to pay or, I guess a needs test. If someone does not have the ability to pay, then maybe we should set a policy that says that if someone is in that position, then we will apply that policy, and that policy would be for all people in similar circumstances, not just one-offs. So I don't know if Chris would want to speak to that.
I think I would like to provide a comment for your consideration. I certainly appreciate what Councillor Haight has suggested here. Please keep in mind that on any given year, council routinely approves new garden suite applications. So that's the initial fee. To start waiving that is going to open certainly a precedent situation. However, from what you've suggested, Councillor Black, maybe there is latitude to say for those renewals that go beyond 20 years, although they have to make a new application to comply with the Planning Act, perhaps at that time this will be the new rate and maybe it will match what the 3-year rate is. I'm not sure. It does not go on indefinitely, let's face it, but that could be something we could review under our user fee bylaw. We could take that into consideration.
When's that new fee bylaw come back? Mr. and Mrs. G have a year and a half or something.
Would
it come back before then?
That's correct. Each year, in approximately October, November, council sees the user fee bylaw, which includes all the fees that are put forward for consideration in the following year. And I can take that under advisement that might be an option that council may so direct, that we could look at something like that. That perhaps might be a solution that deals with it fairly
Okay.
on the front end, but also, this is a very unique example where someone has stayed in their suite the full
Okay.
distance.
Well, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Luke, I certainly appreciate Chris's comments and the flexibility that he's providing for us, because certainly we don't want to throw people out, but we also want to be fair to everyone, so a policy applies across the board. And if there's other people in these circumstances, then let's pull out that policy. So I appreciate Chris having a look at it.
Thank you. I have, excuse me, I have Councillor Oliver and then Councillor Brunton.
Mr. Mayor, I don't really need to make my comments because they were kind of along the same line. I certainly don't support us paying this fee, but I could support the idea of requiring the fee to be paid over several years, just like we do on occasion with folks that are having difficulties paying their property taxes. There is a mechanism, if a needs test is done, to see that money come in over several years. So I think that's a good solution. We look at it when we review the
Okay.
user fees.
Councillor Brunton, thank you.
Well, Mayor Luke, do we have a motion then to waive the fee?
Well, there was no motion on the floor.
I'll make a motion.
Well, I'm all ears.
That we waive the fee for now, because they're good to the end of 18. That we waive this.
Well, they're good till the end of 2018, so there is no fee due until
That's right.
next year.
I'm referring to the 2235. I'm saying, let's waive that till we hear back from Mr. Baird. Is that,
Well, there's no 2235 due right now. That would be the fee of a new application next year.
I realize that.
If I can respond.
Okay.
The G's concern is this: you can call it a new application after 20 years.
Yep.
They see it as a renewal. They have never objected to the fee every 3 years for renewal. They just feel that the difference at the end of 20 years, that they really should be applying again, not applying, they should be renewing again. They recognize that it, according to the Planning Act, it has to be in the form of a new application. They're asking that they pay for a new application, and I told them that if you ask council, they could maybe consider waiving the difference, as we have done before on certain applications. So continue, Councillor Brunton.
if we don't need to waive that fee, Mayor Luke, then let's make a motion that they pay the 1-year renewal fee. Is that what we should ask for? No? Well,
Now, what I think we're looking at here is to go ahead and receive their correspondence as information, and then direct staff to bring back some options on how we can do it. And I'm just thinking that after 20 years, let's just consider a new application with the renewal fee charge.
well, I'm reading this the way.
Go ahead.
Maybe I'm missing something here, but each time the renewal cost is between $375 and $400.
Correct.
Right? Okay, so they're good till the end of 2018, correct?
Correct.
Well, all I'm saying is at the end of 2018, I hope they're not back, and we're saying to them, we owe $22.35, but Mr. Baird's going to review it.
Mr.
I'm
Baird?
saying, wait, get rid of that fee for now, and period.
Maybe if I could help Mr. Mayor and Councillor, look to the clerk here for a moment. Perhaps a motion to the effect that that staff be directed to review a 20-year and beyond renewal fee for garden suites as part of the 2018 user fee bylaw review. Something like that?
Yeah.
So that'll kind of move us forward. Okay?
Yeah, I don't think we have to make a decision tonight. They thought they were up at the end of 2017. And I just said to them, you have to ask council. And I guess I somewhat agree, because while I'm waiting for this, to me, the granny flat is one way we keep older folks out of nursing homes at a tremendous cost to taxpayers. So if they're perfectly happy in Forestville to sit in a trailer home, it's a beautiful home they have on their property, and maintain it as they have in the last 20 years, I think we don't need to put a hardship to discourage people from maybe not being able to carry on with these size of fees. So that's my rationale here. So we'll see what council, when we get the information, what we can do, maybe to assist these people. Yes, sir.
I'm concerned about is these people aren't sitting there all this year waiting to say, well, I guess by the end of this year, I'm going to be looking at this $2,235, possibly. That's my only concern.
These people will be told that there is going to be nothing due until the end of 2018,
Right.
which is over a year and a half, and in the meantime, they'll be contacted by staff that this will be coming back and be some options, okay? The motion would look like we receive Earl and Wendy G's correspondence and information. Staff be directed to review the 20-year fee for Granny Flats and bring options to the 2018 user fee deliberations. Now, is there anybody willing to move and second that? Councillor Height?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. And seconded, Councillor Sonnenberg, and now it is open for debate. Go ahead. Councillor Oliver and then Columbus, please.
Just a very small point, Mr. Mayor, and I'm sure this will happen, but the motion specifically doesn't say that we correspond back to these folks informing them of this, unless I missed it. But I'm sure that's what staff will do in any event.
Mr. Baird, somebody will contact the Gs? Absolutely. Thank you. Good point. Okay, I have another speaker here, Councillor Columbus, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do remember when the Gs came to the Township Delhi Council, they were one of the first ones to ask for this granny flat. It's pretty new to us at the time. One of the questions did we not pass one of these not long ago?
Well, you did one up the 8th concession in Charleville about a month ago.
Right. So
It was from
what are we gonna
1995.
What are we going to do with those people? Like the precedent's been set. I agree with the motion, but I thought we did pass something. So are we going to
I'm
give
sure.
these folks some of their money back?
I'm sure, Councillor Columbus, if we lower the new application fee after 20 years, and I know that one was missed because it was 25 or 26 years up the 8th concession of Charleville, I would suggest those folks, that's the only other one I think that we've dealt with, the 20-year application, I would suggest they have the option to apply to this council in retroactive if they wish.
Okay. Now, to Mr. Baird, will there be some staff time required to examine things like the septic bed and stuff like that? Is that why that fee is so high after 20 years?
Through the mayor, what the fee is for is, you can only have a garden suite for 20 years under the Planning Act. So you have to make an initial application, and that's usually what the fee's for. There's more upfront costs for staff time to make sure that all of these requirements are met. And then there's the renewal period. So they have, after that initial fee of the $22.35, they're good for 11 years. And then they have three-year renewals at the $300 or $400 per 3-year period. So what I've suggested is that we look at, for anything beyond the 20 years, they still have to make application to conform to the Planning Act, but we could look at, council could recommend a significantly lower or something perhaps in line with what the 3-year renewal period is, because I don't want to preempt the discussion with my staff, but I think there's really not much work to do it if it's already established.
Councillor Black?
What I was suggesting, and the difference between something that's already been passed and something that's here now, well, excuse me, what I was suggesting, that there be a means test. So that provides the flexibility. So maybe the one that we passed, they were able to afford it. And the one that's here now, maybe they can show that it is a hardship. So if we have some sort of a means test for this, it provides that flexibility and yet meets all the legislative requirements and makes it fair for everybody. So, and I'm sure Chris will bring back a number of things, options for us to review, and maybe that will be one of them.
Okay, anything further? Okay, let's call the question. Those in favor? It's carried, thank you. And I think it was Councillor Height that said it best. What do we do if they can't afford the application fee? Do we have them evicted out of their own granny flat after 20 years? Hope not. Hope not. Hope not. That's it for correspondence. We have a few staff reports to deal with. I'm on page 115. It's the staff report PW 17-22. This is the award of a contract, PWSS 1704. This is for one new or demonstrator JCB 3CX compact backhoe loader, and it would involve, I think, it's a budget amendment, I think it was $9,000. We'll get to page 115 and find out. Is he okay to go, or is this you, Bill? Would this be you? That's why I'm asking, you should know. I'm trying to get to 115. Yes, it is. Thank you, Mr. Goodland.
Through the chair to county councilor, I believe we did deal with this report last week. We explained, and I believe there was more information coming back, and it was sent in the form of a memo. I believe the questions were, you wanted to see the mechanics assessment, which has been included, and also the rationale behind if the machines were new or demonstrator, and what exactly classified as new and classified as demonstrator. So I'll turn it over for questions with that, but I believe that memo was sent out earlier this week, which I think clarified things nicely.
Okay, Councillor Brunton, to the staff report. Questions?
I'll move the recommendations in the report.
Okay, well, I have a written motion already ready for this. These staff reports will, first of all, staff have given their report to us. If there are questions at this time, and then we'll get to the motion. Councillor Height.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. I'm looking at the vehicle assessment report in our information package.
Yes.
And it doesn't actually have the year of the item, of the backhoe that we currently have, our used one.
This is on
Page 14.
Thank you. Yeah, I did see this. Mr. Cullen, you're looking that up.
Yeah, I'll just go through the email here, see if there is a date on there. I would have thought there would have been.
When you look at this assessment report, obviously this unit is still running, so there is some kind of value here. I would suggest it's probably $8,000 to $10,000 for a used backhoe that still functions. But one of the things that catch your eye here is a lot of little faults starting to pile up. Recommend replacement before getting into a lot of expensive repairs. This is what happens when you don't do maintenance on your vehicles. When you let all your lights just fall apart on your car and your tires wear off, all of a sudden you're not into putting the required amount of money back into that vehicle to keep it on the road. So obviously we need a bit of a maintenance program happening with our equipment, because otherwise you're buying new stuff for, I'm not sure how old this piece of equipment is. The new meter has 342 hours on it, so
It's not a lot.
yeah, I don't know, but you must maintain your vehicles, and that's at Norfolk County. These are taxpayers' assets, and they need to be maintained.
Mr. Goodland, do you know the year of this?
I'm looking here, it's under the fleet number, it's a B034. So
Yes.
Sean's looking here too. I'm pretty sure that is this machine is an 03. So before 14 years old is what we're looking at.
It's about 14 years
I don't
old.
know what date it was put in service. You might stretch it to 15, but I believe it is an 03.
Councillor Black, question?
I'm getting the impression from Councillor Height that Norfolk County doesn't maintain their vehicles. Is that true? I thought we had all kinds of mechanics and a large garage, and oil changes are going on all the time, and inspections. Like, I want to make that clear to the public that, we're not being derelict in our duty. I believe we are responsible for a maintenance schedule. I'm sure I'm right. Am I?
Through the chair, Councillor Black is right. From our fleet facilities, or now fleet division, they're in-house mechanics, and maintenance is scheduled, oil changes that on a regular basis.
The question I have, Mr. Curlin, I don't know if you can answer this. I'm not sure if anyone can. But it did seem to me that 342 hours on backhoe, that's pretty heavy-duty equipment. Does that seem like not very many hours on a machine, 342?
Through the chair.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm reading the assessment here as well. It does seem light. I'm not sure if at one time the hour meter was reset with a different engine or anything. I mean, that's, again, I don't have that information with me. But
Okay,
that would
that-
be the only conclusion I could draw.
That's fine, like, we're really looking at about 24, 25 hours max per year. That's not, oh, it's a new meter. Oh, well, I saw that, I saw a meter, but I couldn't see what's,
Thank you, Councilor.
has
Oliver.
new meter,
Yeah,
I got it.
just saw that
I couldn't
now, yeah.
understand that word. Oh, well, it's at a lot more than 342
Yeah, what the
hours
true
on my
hours are,
phone.
I don't know, but the new meter has 342 hours. so.
Okay, that clears that up. Okay, thank you for that question. Anything further, Councillor Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The part of it that I still find a little puzzling, and I almost think somehow the numbers got transposed, but if you look at the memo on page 13 of the info package, where it shows the two bids we got from the same bidder, and that's the one we're going to take, that they're only charging $108,000 for a 2017 model that's brand new, and they are proposing to charge us $113,000 for a year older model that already has a few hours on it. That completely baffles me as to how that could happen, other than those numbers accidentally being reversed. Now, I'm happy that we're going to get the brand new one for the lower price, but that was still kind of odd. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Cridlin, any comment on that?
Through the chair, just kind of filling in this report, I don't have the exact information, but I do know with machinery, this could have been an example of where the demonstrator had more bells and whistles. You know, it was perhaps bought by a company, returned in quickly, and had specifications on the machine that were over and above what Norfolk County was asking for. Yeah, that would be my best.
I had white walls on it, I think, the demonstrator, the price of those tires. Anything further on this motion? Somewhere here. Okay, moved by Columbus, seconded by Sonnenberg. First of all, that we received the staff report as for information, that we prepare a bylaw which will authorize the clerk and the mayor to execute a contract with Integrated Distribution Systems for the contract in the amount of $108,345 excluding taxes, and further that the overall approved 2016 capital budget for project 5431608 utility tractor loader backhoe replacement be increased from $100,000 to $109,000 net HST as outlined, and further that the overall utility tractor trailer backhoe replacement project be funded from our capital equipment pool reserve. Any further discussion? Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you, Mr. Wood. There's a little bit more agenda left. Should we have a 10, 15-minute break at this time? I think we should. So I'll vote 15, 20 minutes. I'll call you back. Thank you.
With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, the southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, South Coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Up north, on a strip of sandy soil, lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, South Coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, South Coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, the Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of North, on a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. taking the small town atmosphere.
I would like to get started in about 1 minute, so
All
I'll
we
just
grow.
give you that little warning.
Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road. Bound to be back for more.
Okay, let's get started then. I'm back to our second staff report, page 118. Staff report 17-32, Public Works report on a seasonal load restriction exemption here, and this time I'll get it right. Sean, I think you're going to give the report. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, staff were approached by Hidden Valley RV Resort. Their operation has received a provincial order from the MOE, CC, the Ministry of the Environment and Climate Change, basically ordering them to make improvements to their septic system on site at the resort. And with the timelines that were imposed through that provincial order, basically they can't meet their timelines without bringing in certain materials to make the improvements to the septic system prior to the end of the seasonal load restriction, which is basically terminated at the end of the month. So seasonal load restriction goes to April 30th, and their deadline, I believe, for completion of the work is May 15th. And if the exemption to the seasonal load restriction bylaw is not granted, then they feel they won't be able to meet the timeline imposed upon them by the provincial order through MOECC.
Thank you, Mr. Van Acker. Questions to staff? Moved by Councillor Sonnenberg, second by Councillor Height, that report 17-32, seasonal load restriction exemption be received as information, and that Norfolk County Council authorize an exemption of the seasonal load restriction bylaw number 73185 to Hidden Valley RV Resort for the purpose of delivery and installation of a septic system tanks at 61 Moleside Road in Normandale on a route to be determined by our staff. Any discussion on that motion? Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Page 122, this is staff report, EBS 1731. This is voting and vote counting equipment, alternative voting methods, and this is in respect to the 2018 municipal election. Mr. Clerk, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is before you due to new timelines for seeking approval bylaws for alternative voting methods. So we have to have these bylaws in place before May 1st. There are significant changes to the Municipal Elections Act, which I will touch briefly upon later. I was fortunate enough to have our incoming county manager take a look at this report for me, as I wanted to ensure he was in favor of internet voting. So Mr. Cribbs indicated that he's supportive of internet voting and that technology has the potential to increase voter turnout. So looking forward to having another clerk here to talk with about these things. Tabulators are an essential part for timely reporting on an election night for a municipality of our size. They really aren't something that I would consider to be optional with how we deliver our election, the tabulators. Otherwise, we'd be hand counting thousands of votes, so likely wouldn't deliver an outcome before midnight on election night. So it's just something that we'd want to avoid. On the positive side, the province has a contract with Dominion for tabulators for their 2018 election, and one provision of this contract is that Dominion provide the tabulators to municipalities for a reduced fee. The amount is still being determined between the province and Dominion, In addition to the rental, Dominion provides a number of services such as programming, ballots, election display. So the units themselves are just one portion of the overall election cost. Internet voting is something that clerks has heard a lot of requests for during the 2014 election. As you can imagine, the election occurs on the fourth Monday of October, so there was a lot of seasonal or non-resident voters who were not in the municipality on election day. While many of them utilized advanced polls or proxy voting, we did have some that were out of the country. Internet voting will never be the same as attendance at the poll. However, it has been fairly widely adopted by Ontario municipalities. So for our election processes, in a legal sense, we are reviewed in the context of other municipalities, so I'm not concerned with the ability to deliver a fair election through internet voting. The internet voting service would be completely run by Dominion, so it's not our staff creating an online system. We just have access and monitor it and continue to look for fraud. There's people all in Dominion who also have the same tasks, so they do verifications throughout any time when we're up and running. One benefit of this is that we could run internet voting on election day, which would fill the void we are going to encounter through the elimination of the Vote Anywhere system. So we could have an actual laptop set up at voting locations. So if somebody showed up at a poll that was outside of their ward, they could still vote in that polling location. As I mentioned, the Municipal Elections Act has a lot of changes. Nominations no longer begin in January, but they start on May 1st to July. Additional requirements on filing also exist. The most notable one is the requirement for 25 signatures in order to qualify to run for a position. In terms of council positions, you also need to have each one of those signatures fill out a declaration form. So it's going to be a bit more complex, and those additional provisions are ones that a lot of clerks have not been in favor with because we have a hard enough time getting a lot of people out to run for municipal office. The last thing we want to do is put more hurdles in their way in a municipality such as here. I can understand why they would do it for larger municipalities. So, and with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Councillor Wells, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I certainly read this report, and certainly I don't have a problem with the tabulators, but I do have some problems with the proposal that for $50,000 to vote anywhere. This is every 4 years, people are asked to go out and exercise their vote. We have gone over backwards. I mean, they can vote anywhere in Norfolk County. They can vote on several days in Norfolk County. And now we're being asked to baby again people to get out and vote. And for that babying them, we're going to pay or ask us to vote in favor of $50,000. Mr. Mayor, really, I have great difficulty with that second part of this report, and I will not be supporting the $50,000. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Black.
I guess the part that I'm interested in is the voting by internet, and of course, it's the way of the future. I mean, I'm not overly crazy about computers and all that, but that's the trend. What do you do without them now? I mean, I'm operating solely on an iPad now. I don't even have paper anymore. I don't have it, or my iPhone. So it seems to me it is the next step. I am a little bit concerned about how that's going to operate and the security behind it. So I'm wondering if the clerk could, I think in his report it said it could be a complicated step-by-step procedure, but have others done it? Have there been any breaches, any hacking, or any problems? Like, what is the actual risk? Is it any greater than just going out to vote or vote anywhere?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the internet system can't be hacked. It has certain measures in place. So if somebody it will ask you a personal question in order to verify who you are. So you get a voter notification card, and it has the information upon it that you have to enter, and then you need to enter an email address, and it comes back. So it's not necessarily a 2-minute process. It takes 5 or 10 minutes to actually file an internet vote. But there are constant checks to make sure that it's not being hacked. So Dominion is running it for a number of municipalities and makes sure, and there hasn't been any instance where, in doing it in the last few elections, where there's ever been an issue of a hacking. The issue, and I'm reluctant to say where the issue of potential fraud is, but it's really within familia groups. You can imagine when we send notification cards out, it goes to one address. So there are personal questions, but if you know enough information about the people you live with, you could potentially cast 2 ballots. But outside of that, there isn't a fraud potential, and a lot of municipalities just look at that and accept that as being justified by getting more people out to the polls.
And that's, I was wondering about that, like if someone got somebody else's card and they had enough information, and I mean, that could happen with friends. So I mean, there is a small risk to this, but do you think it's a manageable and one that's acceptable, and the payoff is that you'll get a better turnout? So I know nothing is ever perfect, so hopefully there's a greater benefit to getting more people involved in this. So thank you.
Councillor Oliver, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was very interested in reading the report, and of course I have a lot of respect for Councillor Wells's views on these kinds of things. But I'll tell you, the last 3 elections, and I see how low our voter turnout has been, I think any measure that hopefully, and we don't know it until we try it, if we do decide to try it, but a measure that will increase our voter turnout, I think, is a good thing. And so for that reason, at this point, I want to hear the rest of my colleagues speak, but I think I do support the recommendation in the report for both parts of it. Yes, it is a lot of money to go to an online voting technology and system to try in 2018. As Councillor Black pointed out, people that are younger than ourselves, and we're all getting up there, all of us, including many of our staff, but the next generation down there, the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds, they do everything on their devices. And so for them to online vote would just be routine. For us, it's something a little bit more unusual, perhaps. And I think eventually it could be a cost saving. The first time or two, perhaps not. But we could very well find that it is ultimately a cost saving for the county if more and more residents begin to vote online, and we need fewer and fewer people to be physically located in polling stations, etc., as future elections happen. So it is the way of the future, I guess, and I, for one, am prepared to give it a try. Another small note, Mr. Mayor, especially for Councillor Height and I, that have a lot of seasonal cottage owners who are folks from outside of Norfolk County, but still have their property and therefore still have a vested interest in the outcome of elections. This will help them, and I think for that reason as well, it's important, but only in those 2 wards, I realize. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Columbus.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Personally, I like the tried and true system that we've had in the past. Question with respect to this internet voting, though, and that's, would that be just 1 day, or how many days would that be that you were proposing for that, Mr. Clerk?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. That's a very good question. Initially, we were considering doing it just for the advanced voting period, because that's what a lot of municipalities do. But after discussing with the Dominion rep, who lives in Waterford, Toronto company, but we've got local representatives here, he was indicating that they have no issue doing it on election day, and as we're considering that and looking at if we can adopt appropriate procedures to allow it to happen on election day, simply because it could help address the removal of the vote anywhere system, and we see that as an advantage. And just to speak a bit to the cost is large, but I think within considering last election we came in about 35,000 under budget. And with the elimination of the vote anywhere system, we're making a change to our ballot numbers. And so it is something that we could likely still do the election without requesting any further funds. So I think that's an important thing, is